Nadine again from Incafe, and this time we're going to talk about milk basics, texturing techniques, and also how to look after steam ones, so your texturing equipment. So first up, in your cafe, of course, you're going to have different size jugs, and they are for different things, obviously. So your 1 liter jug, 600 milliliter, 350. Your 350 is a really handy jug to have if you have soy milk or if you're offering almond milk, other milk varieties. This will be efficient or sufficient in terms of volume to fill a julep cup or a cappuccino cup or even a latte cup if you were to pour your milk amount just above that spout, so centimeter above the spout. That's your maximum amount. Minimum amount, centimeter below the spout. It's a really good measuring tool, this spout. You can't pour less than that in there, unfortunately. The heat transfer of the milk will be too great. It'll just scream at you and you will end up with just hot milk but no texture in there at all. And this measuring thing actually works for all those jugs. Yeah? So centimeter below, minimum amount, centimeter above, maximum amount. It doesn't matter which jug size you use. Your 1 liter, of course, is the jug that you use predominantly if you have a lot of takeaways, 8 ounce or 12 ounce takeaway cups, several of them. Cool. Ideal final temperature for milk, anywhere between 65 to 70 degrees Celsius. The perfect milk temperature is 68.3, but it's a bit tricky to get there all the time. So anywhere between 65 to 70 is where we would like to be. Beyond 70, unfortunately, milk breaks down immediately, and what you end up with is this sort of custard smell, or it smells a little bit like baby milk formula. If you do smell that, please do not use that milk. Discard it and start again. It's gone too far. It's too hot, and it will actually add a sour taste to your coffee. Once you've heated your milk, ideally what you want to do is just use as much as you actually need, so you do not end up with a lot of extra hot milk left in your jug. If it's a small amount, you're more than welcome to actually just top this up. It's perfectly fine, as long as you have a large amount of fresh cold milk added to a very small amount of hot milk, it will texture well again. If you have quite a fair amount of hot milk left in your jug, you need to think, what is the texture that I need to create in my next coffee? If you require quite a fair bit of foam, so you're making possibly a cappuccino or 2 cappuccinos or a fluffy even, you will need some really cold milk, so you can't really mix. Reason for that is, from cold, so when you pour your milk into the jug until 40 degrees Celsius, this is actually your window of opportunity to create that texture, that wonderful foam that we want. After 40 degrees, the chemical composition of your milk has changed, and the only thing you'll be able to do is heat the milk. If you try to introduce some more steam into the milk after 40, what it will create is just big disconnected bubble bath bubbles, but it will not be part of the texture anymore. So everything happens pretty much right at the beginning. So, fresh cold milk, most important, of course. The milk that you use also has an impact. Now we use the Barista Velvet milk, so organic milk. The higher the fat content in your milk, the more velvetier and creamier the texture will be. The more sweeter the milk will also be, as there's more sugars in there that are caramelizing. The lower the fat content, the more drier the texture will be, the more stiffer the foam, and the faster it will actually separate or break down. So if you use trim milk, please pour immediately, because milk and foam will separate itself in the jug really, really quickly. The technique that you use, regardless of what milk variety you use, whether that's soy milk, whether that's full fat milk, or whether that is trim milk, the technique is the same. Temperatures also stay the same. It's just that the milk will act slightly differently once textured. We need to create different textures for different coffees. Most important one, obviously, flat white, the most consumed coffee in New Zealand, and for that we need a silky texture, so hardly any foam, leaving just that really glossy layer on top. Then we have our lattes, a mochaccino. For that we want a silky velvety texture, and then the cappuccino, or the fluffy for our little ones, requires really creamy, dense texture. In order to create that texture, technique is of course essential, but on top of that, the actual steam wand, or the lower part of it, which is the nozzle, plays a huge role in that technique and how you hold the jug, the positioning of the jug. So this one here has 4 jets, 4 little holes where the steam is forced through, creating obviously that wonderful texture. And as you can see, they fan out quite widely. So generally speaking, what that means for texturing purposes, you would hold your jug relatively straight, whilst this steam wand is a little bit on an angle. I will explain very shortly. If we have a look at this particular steam wand here, also 4 jets, but they are facing slightly differently. So if I open this up, they're fanning out even further. So here the technique will be again a little bit different. It's quite straight, so the steam wand is relatively straight towards the jug, so the angle is far less than on the steam wand over there, purely because the steam is already entering the milk on a far greater angle, so I don't need to create that angle with the jug or the way I'm holding the jug anymore. Cool. So let's get started. Let's create some milk for that really popular flat white. And for that, I'm just going to do 1 flat white. We're going to use the little jug, and I will pour milk just below that spout. There we go. Oh, I shall use this machine. Purge first, and this is really important. Before you use your steam wand, always purge, remove the condensed water that's accumulated inside here, and then touch the rubber, because the steam wand itself, this pipe's really hot now. So touch the rubber, bring it out to you where you would want it, and then we are placing the steam tip just below the milk surface. So turn it on, full power, and what you want is just a gentle hissing sound, and you want to see the whirlpool. And we turn off. Remember, our milk ideally 65 degrees Celsius. Wipe your steam wand immediately. Purge, as there's a lot of milk in there. And this is really important. Before and after you use the steam wand, it needs to be purged. Tap it, and because this is a small jug with a very small amount of milk in it and a very powerful steam wand, we did create just a little bit more foam than we needed. So this is what you would want for your flat white. When I swirl it, it looks like liquid double cream. And then we pour, just slowly in the middle, move it around, flat white. So same thing, we're going to do a flat white again, but this time we'll put it into a takeaway cup, because a lot of your coffees, of course, are takeaway. I'm now using the 600 ml jug, and I've poured milk just below the spout. I'm going to use this steam wand now, so technique slightly different, but again, same thing, always purge first, remove all the condensed water, and beware this steam wand is now really hot, so use that rubber up here to move it around. Grab your jug, turn on, gentle hissing sound. And we turn off. You can actually hear as well when it's time to turn off. Immediately wipe, and again purge to remove milk residue. And if I have a look, 65. Wonderful. So tap it, it's just to remove any bubbles that you may have. And then we pour, again very slow. And then we'll pivot forward. And there's your flat white. So how does it change from making obviously that silky velvety milk for your flat white to making milk for a cappuccino? That's what we're going to do. We're going to do cappuccino. Technique changes slight bit, but not massively. So again, we purge, bring it out to you, make sure you don't touch it. It's hot. Placement is the same, just the tip is submerged. Turn it on full. Get your hissing sound. The only thing you're doing now is moving the jug gently, just so that the steam wand moves at the same time. And what you're trying to achieve is for the steam wand, the nozzle of it, the end bit, to stay at the same level. So I've started here with my milk amount, and as soon as I open the steam valve, steam will flow and the milk will move upwards. I lower the jug gently so that I'm always staying at the same spot until about 40-45 degrees. And what it does, steam just goes below the milk surface, making the milk expand and grow. So I'm creating a more denser, creamier texture. Once you've wiped it, purge, tap. I've got my shot here. And we swirl again. Swirling, very important. What it does, it connects milk and foam. Foam sits on the top, milk's on the bottom. And once you have a glossy sheen again, we pour, but we pour sideways this time. So all the beautiful foam goes in. And then chocolate sprinkle or cinnamon if your customer requires. Cappuccino. And here are some port patterns for you to practice on. Have fun.